My sister-in-law tried to seduce me to ruin my marriage, and my wife believed her. I don't know if I'm reading too much into things or if my gut feelings are right. I'm 38 years old, and I've been married to my wife, Kate, who is 39, for 5 years. We both work and pay our bills. A simple life. This isn't about her, it's about my sister-in-law, Angela, who is 32. She's a total red flag. She's the type of person who gives off bad vibes and makes others feel awkward around her. I'd even say awkwardness. Feels awkward next to her. Angela always finds a way to make everything about her, and if she doesn't have attention, she'll do anything desperately to get it back. When we visit Kate's parents, Angela dominates the conversation, interrupting Kate mid-sentence or ignoring her opinions as if they don't matter. I see the flicker of hurt in Kate's eyes, but she never says anything. She just lets it go, like she always has. The more I watch, the more I realize this isn't new. Angela has walked all over Kate her whole life. Her parents let it happen. Angela is the golden child who gets away with everything. Kate, the responsible one, is expected to be the mature one, work hard, build a career, and just let Angela do whatever she wants. That's why Angela didn't even finish high school. I also feel like Angela has this strange obsession with overshadowing everyone, especially Kate. She seems to think wearing revealing clothes somehow makes her superior, smarter, or more attractive. It doesn't. It just makes her look cheap and desperate. Surprisingly, Kate never seems to notice. Or, if she does, she doesn't care. She's the complete opposite, calm, classy, and never gets involved in unnecessary drama. That's one of the reasons I love her. She's smart, well-mannered, dedicated to working hard, and uncomplicated. Sometimes I feel she's too naive about her family. Anyone else in her shoes would have hated her sister and mother for being so cruel. There were many times I overheard Angela making snide remarks and digs about how Kate dressed, her hair, or something else. And their mother would side with Angela too. Kate never defended herself. To protect herself, she would just walk away. The first time I met her family, it was hard to believe they could have raised a daughter like Kate. The first question Angela asked me was, "How much do you make?" Not a hello or polite small talk to start, just straight up, "How much money do you make?" It was awkward, to say the least. I looked at Kate, expecting her to shut it down, but she just smiled and let it slide. I was relieved I didn't answer the question. That would have been offensive to me. Kate isn't one to stir up unnecessary conflict, and I respected that. In the last 5 years of marriage and 3 years of dating, I've only seen Angela a few times. I don't feel comfortable around her. There's something odd about the way she looks at me. It's subtle, but unsettling. She does things like hold eye contact for too long. She makes comments that seem to be on the edge of inappropriate, like they're flirting lines disguised as jokes. Nothing obvious enough for me to directly call her out, but enough to have made me uncomfortable more than once. Since she's my wife's sister, I can't just go to Kate with vague accusations. Although there were a few times I brought up Angela's weird vibes to Kate, Kate wasn't bothered and said I was overreacting, so I figured it was best to just stay away from Angela. I avoided sitting next to her at family gatherings and avoided events where she was the focus, like her birthdays and things like that. About 4 months ago, I got a big promotion at work. I'm in the auto industry, and as part of the promotion, I was given a Land Cruiser. It was a huge achievement for me, and Kate and I celebrated it with friends and family. Angela, of course, was there. I could see her mind processing the new car, calculating how much I must be earning. She innocently slipped the question into the conversation. "How many zeros were added to your salary?" I just smiled and let it pass without dignifying her with an answer, just brushed it off as a joke. Since that day, I feel like Angela has been pursuing me. She started to flirt more, or at least what I would call flirting. She would stand too close when we were in the same room. My Instagram is private, but she has sent me follow requests almost 10 times since then. I have never accepted her. Her intentions became clear when she showed up at my office out of the blue. She said she was just passing by and thought she'd say, "Hello." It felt weird, but I remained polite. She asked if I was going home and if she could ride along. I told her it would be a while. After some back and forth, she left, and I immediately told Kate. Her reaction was very casual. Kate said, "So what?" "It's been a while since she's seen you. She must have been around and decided to drop in. No big deal." I didn't push it and let it go. Last week, Angela did it again. This time she brought me food, saying, "I know you must be hungry working so hard earning money. You deserve some treats." I told her I was busy and didn't want to eat lunch right then. She insisted, trying to act childish, saying she was hungry and would faint if I didn't indulge her. Eventually, she got the hint and left. I told Kate, and she brushed it off lightly, saying Angela was just trying to be nice so we would take her with us on our Maldives vacation this summer. I insisted that Kate try to see her sister's true intentions, but Kate dismissed it by saying, Angela wouldn't look at you like that. She wouldn't settle for anything less than private yachts. Now I don't know what to do. I don't have solid proof to make my point. There's a slight chance she might have done all this just to get the free trip and nothing more. A trip that, by the way, she is not getting. What do you guys think? And what should I do? Update 1. This woman is a witch. I should have seen it coming. Or rather, I was seeing it. But Kate wasn't, and that's why I was so stressed. Let's just say my worst fear came true. 2 weeks ago, Kate was out of town for work. She travels for work every few months for about a week. So, it's nighttime, and I'm home alone about to go to sleep when I heard the doorbell ring, and it was Angela. As soon as I opened it, she barged inside calling for Kate. I said, "Excuse me, hold on. Kate isn't home." By that time, she was already lounging on my couch. Then she got up and pretended to be surprised. "Oh, where is she?" I informed her that Kate was on her work trip. Then she smiled at me with a sly grin and said, "You must be lonely, huh?" I was shocked by her question. If the conversation had happened at the door, her expression would have been captured by the front door camera. That's why she smartly walked into the house. I told her with a serious face that it felt inappropriate and she should leave. She got up, stroked my arm, and whispered, "Let me give you some action." I pulled away and yelled, "What the heck? Get out!" She tried to get closer again and I pushed her away. She started laughing and said she was just messing with me. I told her, "Please, leave now." She put on a smug face, leaned into me and said, "I know she can't satisfy you, but I can." I literally jumped towards the door, yanked it open, and yelled at her to leave. As she walked away, she touched my hand and said, "Just in case you get tired of playing it safe, you know where to find me." At that point, I lost my temper and yelled some insults at her. She said with a bitter face that I would regret it. As soon as she left, I immediately grabbed my phone to call Kate and tell her everything. She didn't answer. It was midnight where she was, so she was probably asleep. I regret leaving my phone in the room while I went to open the door. I could have recorded the conversation. That thought came to me much later. I greatly regret not checking who it was before opening the door. I couldn't sleep most of the night, trying to call Kate, hoping she would answer. Part of me wanted to leave her a voicemail, but it wasn't appropriate to share such a sensitive incident that way. God knows how she would interpret it. I don't know when I fell asleep, but when I woke up in the morning, my phone was buzzing with furious calls from Kate, accusing me of hitting on Angela. While I was asleep, Angela twisted the story and turned me into the villain. According to her, she had come to see Kate. I told her she wasn't in town and that I was lonely. That made her uncomfortable and she got up to leave. I supposedly grabbed her arm, pulled her towards me, and said, "Let's have some fun." She somehow managed to break free and escape from me. Kate also checked the recording from the front door camera and confirmed that Angela walked into the house and that when she left, she had a bitter expression and was saying something to me. I was stunned. The level of her lies was unbelievable. How can someone stoop so low? I told Kate my version of events and she laughed in my face. "Who do you think you are, for my sister to try to seduce you? She has all the rich, successful, handsome guys lining up in her DMs waiting for her response. And you want me to believe she seduced you? Do you think I'm stupid? Save your lies for someone else?" And she hung up on me. Since then, she hasn't answered my calls or messages. I thought that when she came back, we could talk about it. She was supposed to return this Sunday, but she didn't show up and didn't let me know. Later, I saw her Instagram story. She was at her mother's house. It hurt because she didn't even give me the benefit of the doubt. She didn't even properly ask for my side before jumping to conclusions. I called her again. She answered with a cold tone. I started explaining what really happened, but she interrupted me saying, "Enough, I don't want to hear it." She went on about how Angela was crying when she called her, saying she felt terrified by my supposed advances. Apparently, she told Kate that I grabbed her by the arms and tried to kiss her and forced myself on her before she managed to escape. I tried to remain calm and ask Kate to think logically about this, because after years of actively avoiding Angela, I would suddenly throw myself at her. She responded, "I don't know. Maybe you were tempted. Maybe you've been creating a fantasy in your head lately and you wanted to fulfill it. We know you've been talking about her a lot lately. That broke me. Tempted by Angela? That bitch. I asked her how she could even think that. She just said, Angela wouldn't lie about something like this. That's when I lost my patience. I reminded her of all the times Angela tried to subtly flirt, the weird eye contact, the unwarranted visits. Kate was silent for a moment before saying, I don't want to argue about this anymore. I felt like I was talking to a stranger. It wasn't the person I knew. She was acting like a puppet, completely falling into her sister's hands. And worst of all, she chose to believe a woman who has always belittled her instead of me, who has been by her side for years. I know I should have recorded my interaction with Angela, but I shouldn't have to justify myself so much to my own wife. She's seen my interactions with Angela over the years, and worse yet, she's been her sister for much longer. Maybe I'm wrong here, but I shouldn't even have to tell Kate my side. She should have shut Angela down with her lies. The fact that she blindly believes Angela's version after all these years of her abusing my wife should be a huge red flag. I don't want to say the word, but at this point, I don't know if the thought of the word that rhymes with territory. Update 2. I am getting a divorce. If she trusts her sister more than me, then she can keep her. I'm tired of fighting for someone who refuses to see the truth right in front of her eyes. Before reaching this decision, I went to her house for a final talk. The moment she opened the door, I knew it was useless. There was no warmth or concern, just cold detachment. Her mother was there too, arms crossed, eyes full of hate for me, making faces as if I was some kind of disgusting plague they had to tolerate. Before I could even say a word, her mother interjected, How dare you show up here after what you did to Angela? I clenched my fists but maintained my composure and replied firmly, I didn't do anything. She let out a sarcastic comment. Oh, right, you're the innocent one. Poor you. Kate was standing there with her arms crossed and empty eyes, as if she had already decided I wasn't worth listening to. She asked me in an ice-cold voice, What do you want? I replied, Before I say anything, I want to ask you. Do you trust me? She answered mockingly, Look who's talking about trust after what you did to my sister. It's more than obvious. I told her, Then it's useless to keep talking. Anything I say will seem like a lie to you, but don't forget that you are ruining everything. You know I've been warning you about Angela's intentions for a long time, and you still fell for her game. She didn't want to listen to me. She shook her head and asked, Why would my sister try to seduce you? What would she gain from that? I looked at her in disbelief and admitted, I don't know. Maybe your stability, maybe love, maybe she wants the life you have. Kate laughed as if I was telling a great joke. Really? Do you think you're so important? My sister isn't interested in a guy like you who can be unfaithful with his wife's sister. I was speechless. I knew anything I said would be twisted against me, so I just got up to leave. She thought I was going to apologize and beg. And when I didn't, she said, You should feel lucky that Angela didn't press harassment charges against you. Lucky that Angela didn't ruin my whole life with a false accusation, as if she was doing me a favor by just lying instead of completely destroying me. There was nothing to save. She was no longer the woman I married. She was no longer my partner. She was Angela's puppet, and I wasn't going to waste another second trying to convince her otherwise. It wasn't worth it. I didn't say another word. I turned around and walked out of that house, which was also a metaphor for walking out of my marriage. That same day, I hired a lawyer and started the divorce process. I refused to be with a woman who doesn't trust me. I was literally in shock, thinking that witch really has the power to ruin my life. If she pressed harassment charges against me, how could I even defend myself? Even if she couldn't prove her accusations, it would take years to prove my innocence. My career, my life would be over. I asked my lawyer to get a restraining order against Angela. Apparently, it's not as easy as it seems. The court doesn't grant that order unless the person has shown some sign of potential threat. Nevertheless, I asked him to try for my own peace of mind. In the meantime, I've been focusing a bit on my life, trying not to think about the whole thing so much. I feel bad because Angela is getting everything she wanted, to ruin her sister's life, and she can't even see it. But on the other hand, I think my wife will see it sooner or later. If not, she'll have to live a miserable life around her sister. All this time, there was no communication from her side. She didn't even pick up her things. When she received the papers, she sent me a text message. So instead of owning up to your mistake, you choose to leave. I don't know what she calls leaving when she had already ended the marriage in our last interaction. I'm just here doing the paperwork to make it official. I don't know if she wanted something else from this. She should have talked to me. She is digging her own grave by believing her. She doesn't realize it now, but eventually she will. Angela did all this out of envy. She couldn't stand her sister enjoying a happy life while she was swinging from sugar daddy to sugar daddy. That's the reason why Angela did what she did. It bothers her to see her sister happy. I don't think of myself as some great catch or anything, but I've tried to be a good husband to her and give her a good life, something Angela doesn't get from people who pay to have her available when they need affection. I didn't reply, there was no point. My lawyer emailed me saying that all communication must be through legal channels and that she shouldn't contact me directly. Doing so could only hinder the case. And since he's the expert and I'm paying for his services, I'm going to listen to him. I haven't heard from her since then. My lawyer confirmed today that Kate signed the papers. Now it's just a matter of everything being processed. Since she didn't contest it, my lawyer is hopeful it won't take too long, and I feel relieved. I thought she might put up a fight, drag out the process, but she didn't. Well, better for me. Maybe she's caught up in her pride and thinks I'll come crawling back, begging her to take me back, apologizing for something I never did. She's wrong. I'm fed up with her and her whole family. I thought my wife had escaped the toxicity, but I was mistaken. I'll post an update when everything is final. Update 3. Things are at least turning in my favor, thankfully. We were one step away from finalizing the divorce when I suddenly got a call from Kate, crying and apologizing. I was quite surprised by what was happening. I mean, she moved out, without any discussion, signed the papers without contesting, and months ago she sent movers to take all her belongings. She didn't even come to get them herself. During all this time, she didn't call or text me even once. She was cold and businesslike, moving on and handling things without any emotion. So, what happened now? She found out the truth about Angela. It turns out Angela found a rich guy who actually owns a yacht and showers her with all kinds of luxuries, and she gladly rubs it in Kate's face. By the way, this guy is a divorced man in his late 50s, but that's not the point here. Not only Angela, but her mother also became cold towards Kate. As soon as Kate was notified of the divorce, her mother asked her to find accommodation, saying, "Now that you're separating, you need to find your own place. We can't have you here forever." Kate is financially strong, so finding a place wasn't difficult. But emotionally, she was sinking. She needed her family's support during her dark divorce stage, but her family turned their backs on her. Lately, Angela's boyfriend threw her a big birthday party and invited his friends and family, including Kate. At the party, Angela introduced Kate to her friends, telling everyone that Kate was getting a divorce because her husband had hit on her. She recounted her version of the incident with a sense of pride, as if it was her achievement that her sister's husband found her attractive. Some of her friends gave Kate nasty looks and thought it was no wonder the husband was attracted to Angela. According to them, Kate was boring and dressed out of style. Therefore, her husband, meaning me, fell for Angela. Ha! Kate realized that maybe my version was true and that Angela had actually twisted the story. She confronted Angela to get the truth. Angela yelled at her like she was a doormat and said, "Your husband was a jerk, and you know what? I think you deserve it because you're a loser too. You rubbed your husband's success in my face all these years. Now, get ready to witness mine." Although she didn't give a direct answer, Kate understood everything and immediately called me to apologize and make things right. I listened patiently and then told her, "I'm sorry. It's too late. That ship has sailed." She pleaded with me to stop the process, to get back together, but I had already made my decision. She promised all sorts of things, but I stood firm. She begged me to give our marriage a chance for the sake of our dreams, our retirement plans, and our compatibility. I replied, "You ruined everything. I'm still going to have everything I dreamed of, but without you." She showed up at the house, but I never opened the door for her. I learned my lesson about checking the peephole before opening. The divorce dragged on a bit because suddenly she wasn't ready for it and was pleading to work on the marriage. I remained firm in my decision to divorce her. It's all over now, and I am free from that toxic family. I don't feel a shred of sadness for Kate. Yes, we had a happy marriage, but the moment she chose her lying sister over me, it was over. Some of my friends say I made an impulsive decision and that I could give her a chance now that she's realized the truth. But that's not the point. This incident revealed what my value was in her life, and I believe I am right to divorce her. Update 4. It's good to be back here again, and for reasons that don't directly affect me this time. It's nice to be back with you all and tell you some new things about my story. For starters, I got a dog, and unlike my ex-wife, I don't think he'll betray me for any of his brothers or sisters. He's a stray I adopted, so we don't know who his siblings are. All I know is he's found a family in me, and I've found a family in him. But I'm not here to talk about my ex, whom I haven't heard much from in a while. She tried to contact me after the divorce, but I chose not to respond to any attempts because I didn't need to. Then she stopped trying, and that's it. But I found it interesting the other day to read about Angela in the local newspaper. I didn't find out about this until everything was settled, which is why I hadn't made any updates about it. But the story goes like this. One of her sugar daddies traded her in for another woman, a newer model with less mileage, I'm assuming, and Angela didn't like that at all. That's why she accused him on social media of being abusive in the relationship. I won't bore you with the details, but you can imagine the things she accused him of out of spite. But this sugar daddy, besides having money, as Angela likes, also had influence. So he hired a couple of well-known lawyers in the city, the kind who take all the high-profile cases, and they sued Angela until she lost the desire to hang around with these types of men. Or that's what I imagine. Because if I had to pay $3,000, rounding up the figure as the news says, I would look to settle down and stop wasting time. But of course I am me, and Angela is, well, a demon. I don't know what Angela's family thinks of her now, but I love that this woman is getting a little bit of karma for her false accusations. In the end, she hasn't been able to get away with everything her whole life. Things are finally catching up to her. I don't see it as some kind of revenge for me in particular either. She can say whatever she wants, but it was always my ex-wife who decided to believe her or me. I can't blame third parties for this when, ultimately, it could have been resolved by simply ignoring her. Still, Angela is a bad person. There's no doubt about that. And karma has been fair in acting,